This is me, and I'm somewhat of what you call a habit pro. Earlier this year, I set out to complete several goals, and I completed all but one. But what if I told you this could be you as well? What if I told you that you can accomplish every goal that you've desired to? In this video, I'm going to take you through the 4 steps that will get you from inconsistent, brain-rotted couch potato to what I like to call a habit pro. Maybe even as good as me. Now, the first thing that you want to do is write your habit down. So many people overlook this. They say, oh, I'm going to do this. You tell your friend and all that. And that is so great. It's so great that you go and, you call your friends on the phone and you're like, hey, this is the habit I want to, I want to start reading more. I want to start working out. I want to be consistent in this. But you say all of that, but you don't write it down. So you don't ever see it yourself. Do you ever think about why do so many people have vision boards? They fill it up with all these different things. They have all these images of the cars you want, the places you want to go, like, the family you want to start, all these different goals with college, school, money, finances, your dreams, all of that. But you don't put any of the things that actually lead you to get there. You don't have any way of visualizing any of that. Like, does that truly make sense? You have your destination, but it's like imagine you're on Apple Maps, right? Like you're driving and then you have your destination. You want to drive to New York City, and let's say you're all the way in like San Francisco. Now it helps that you know a general direction of where it is. It's the same with the vision board. The general direction. If you want to be able to build wealth, you want to be wealthy, you want to get the cars and all those and the house and all these different things and live a much better life. That's the destination. But there's a lot of space in between, and you can kind of get there. But just like with a plane, if you've ever heard this analogy with like Los Angeles, if you leave from Los Angeles to New York City, even if you're just off by just 2 degrees, I think it's about 2 degrees, you can literally end up in Washington, D.C. instead of New York City, which is such a big difference. It is so drastic. And it's the exact same thing. You have your vision board, you have all these goals, you know where you want to go, but you don't even have the actual map. You don't have the part where it's laid out. Like, what's the point of Apple Maps if you just have a destination, but you don't have any pathway? And it's the same exact thing with your habits. You need to make sure you write it down. Either write it down on paper, put it digitally. That's something that I do. Personally, I'm a very digital person. I like to have all my stuff online in my Notion and all these different things, whether you use Obsidian, Google Docs, whatever works best for you, or even Apple Notes. Make sure you have it somewhere you can see. Don't just let it live within your head, because things that stay within your head, that is one of the worst things possible. Like they say, like graveyards are the place where there's so many dreams dead, is because people keep things inside of their mind instead of writing it out, instead of speaking it. Speaking is not enough with your habits. You have to write it down. That is such a crucial step. Now, the next step is to evaluate the habit. It is so important to spend time actually evaluating this habit. I see so many different people, you want to do all these different things. You're like, oh, this person, he does a cold plunge. Oh, this person, he goes and runs for 30 minutes in the early part of the day. And you hear all these different habits, all these different people saying, 7 highly effective habits, all these different things. And I'm not saying those are wrong. I think those are great videos. People make those for a great reason. I think there are a lot of habits that you should adopt from other people, because sometimes you just don't know which ones are best. But it's very important to go and actually evaluate it yourself. See if it fits into what your goals are. See if it's who you want to actually become, because a cold plunge might work for someone else, but I don't do cold plunges. I don't personally like them. They're not for me. But a lot of other people, they get a lot of energy. They feel like they do something. To me, it's like a cold plunge. I tried that thing for like 7 days. I tried it for a week. It wasn't that good. Like the cold shower thing, it was not something that worked for me. So stop feeling like you have to do this particular habit. There are habits that I believe every person should kind of have, like, physical activity, something that stimulates you physically, mentally, and spiritually. I think those are 3 important things. Like for me, that's my devotion. That's my time I spend with God in the morning. For 2, I work out. I work out 4 times a week because that's best for me, and I make sure I read every single day, or I listen to an audiobook. Those are habits that I have that facilitate to those 3 different areas, and I believe everyone should have those core habits. But then when it comes to other things out, like for me, like creating videos or writing down scripts, like one of my things is creating something. That is a habit that is so crucial to me, because if I'm creating things online, if I'm trying to get into like creative direction and video producing, and all these different things, those are habits that are gonna help me and align with the path that I want to go down. But for someone else, maybe it's they need to go and spend time studying for maybe you need to spend time studying for your med school test or your midterms or all these different things. Whatever it may be, you have to evaluate and see what's best for you. Stop feeling this pressure that, oh, I need to do every single habit just like everyone else. I need to go and be like every other person. No, you don't. Stop worrying about what every other person is doing with their habits and evaluate it for yourself. Actually sit down, since you wrote it, sit down and look at it. Is this something that will actually lead me down the path that I want to go? Will cold showers every single morning, is that something that's just getting me uncomfortable? Like it's just, it's meaningless. Is this something I'm just doing because, some like self-improvement guru said that? Or is it actually something that's meaningful in my life? You have to evaluate for yourself, and no one can tell you all the proper habits that every single person, like, oh, this is something there are habits that you need to do, but no one's going to give you every single habit that is perfect for your life, because at the end of the day, you know you best. You're the person at the end of the day that's gonna go, you're gonna wake up and what do you go throughout the course of the day? What are things you struggle with? What are things you need to improve on? What are things that you're trying to strengthen even further? You're the only person that's gonna have the answer to all those different things. So you need to spend time to actually evaluate your habit. And when spending time evaluating your habits, you just have to make sure that it actually pushes you to who you wanna become. There's so many people, they don't get habits that actually are seeking who you want to become. And that leads me into my next point in all about identity and making your habits actually a part of your identity. 3, this is such a crucial step. You do not want to miss out on this. You have to make it a part of your identity. And that might sound simple. You're like, okay, a habit, of course, is a part of my identity. If I do this, then like if you practice soccer, you're a soccer player and all that. But truly deepen your mind with each and every single habit you do is a part of your identity, whether good or bad. There are habits that are gonna propel you in life. If you spend time reading every single day, you're a reader. You're a person that is growing mentally, that is able to go and they're seeking to improve. You're seeking to gain more knowledge and wisdom. But if you're a person that scrolls every single day, you're a doom scroller. You're a person that is addicted to their phone. You're someone that is stuck in the rhythm of constantly going over and over and over, checking if there's new notifications, checking if there's something. Like, you see the difference? Your habits can truly make a great person that's gonna lead you down the path you wanna be, and a person that's gonna fall from that. The person that places you in the exact same position of why you're on the couch just doom scrolling, why you're late at night and you're just wasting time and you feel like you can't fall asleep, why you're the person that has said they wanted to accomplish so many different things. You want to get the dream bod, you want to get super smart, you want to build wealth, you want to do all these different things, you want to get into content creation maybe, but you're not there and you said it for years. Trust me, I have been there so many different times, but you really have to make it a part of your identity. When you make habits a part of your identity, it truly becomes something more than, oh, it's just a habit. It's like, no, this is building exactly who I am. This is exactly tied to my future. This is exactly tied to my success. Every single thing becomes so important and integral. You have to think about it this way. How many times have you heard a statistic, unfortunately 500 people, passed away in this unfortunate event? I'm not gonna say any unfortunate events because I'm not trying to get demonetized or get this video age restricted, but an event happens, a natural disaster, so many lives are taken, but they focus on this one person. Maybe they see, another young teenager, maybe he's 20 years old, and you see that unfortunately he lost his friends and he's crying because of this unfortunate event, and so many lives were taken. He's lost his family, and all of a sudden you fit in those shoes and you remember, this is someone like me. This is someone that I can relate to, and all of a sudden it feels like your heartstrings are being pulled upon, and all of a sudden it's no longer just a statistic. That one life, that one person all of a sudden matters so much more. It's no longer just a natural event. It's no longer just a horrible attack or thing that happened or tragedy. now it's something personal. Now it's something that you can relate to because you know exactly what that person is like. You can see yourself in that person. You can see, and all of a sudden it's just connected to you. You feel so much more. Those numbers, now you start thinking, those are lives that were changed. How many more people were out there like me? How many people did I know that were like the people that passed away? And it's the exact same thing with habits. When you go and connect these habits to this fact that I'm not just working out, but I'm building a physical body that is going to take me so much further. This physical body that I have, I'm only gifted one on earth. And the things that I do, working out and treating it healthy and fueling it right, it's more than just for aesthetics. It's more than just looks. It's more than just trying to be attractive. But it all of a sudden becomes tied to, if I don't take care of this, I don't want to be a person who can be on their deathbed at 65. I don't want to die at the average age of Americans at 72. I want to be someone who can be able to still carry things. I still want to be able to carry my grandchildren. I still want to be able to talk and laugh and have peace. I still want to be able to take care of myself to where I know my children won't have to put me in a nursing home. All of a sudden, all these different things, it becomes so much more tied to you. So tie your habits to your identity. I know so many different people are like, no, don't tie your habits to identity. You know, you're greater than, if you're breaking free from habits, yeah, you have to take it off your identity, but you have to still recognize good and bad habits are a part of who you are. Your habits are what build your character. When you show up every single day to do something, that's building your character. You're not even noticing it, but subconsciously you're building trust with yourself. When you say every single day that, yeah, I'm working out, that I'm gonna work out 4 times a week, and you do it every single week, your mind literally psychologically, you're going and building trust with yourself. And then now when you say something, your mind is automatically like, yeah, I got to do this. The neural pathways are literally being built within you. And you have to think of it that way. It is so crucial and important. And when you start thinking about it like this, it changes the game. Make it a part of your identity. Now, number 4, log your habits. There are so many people who make this mistake of not logging it. They think, they do all the steps before, they say it, they write it, they even attach it to their identity. But if you don't spend time to actually log your habits, you're not gonna necessarily see the full potential progress that you can. You can get far. There are a lot of people that do get far. But when you actually log your habits, especially in those initial stages, especially in those first 45 days where you're really building them, it's so immensely important. Because when you log your habits, it's more than just checking a box or clicking a notification or, going and writing it down again for that day. You're going and actually seeing the progress in a way. Just like I said, it's important to actually go and write it so you can visualize it. Now you're visualizing the actual progress. You can see, oh wait, last Tuesday, I didn't go and work out like I said I would. So you can hold yourself accountable. It helps you keep yourself accountable. No longer are you gonna be like, oh, it's your friend keeping you accountable, because your friends, I'm sorry, you cannot rely on your friends to keep you accountable and everything. You can't rely on your parents because no one is coming to save you. You cannot rely on your teachers. You cannot rely on all these other people. At the end of the day, you are responsible for where you are. You, at the end of the day, are responsible for where you're going. You're responsible for your past, present, and future choices. So it's important, if you can hold yourself accountable with this log, you're like, oh, wait a second, every single Tuesday, I'm not working out. What is the reason for that? And you begin to realize, oh, wait a second, I'm not working on this because maybe I have this club event or maybe I'm a part of this organization, or maybe this is when I call my grandma or something, and you realize, oh, wait a second, this is why I'm not doing it. So it's like, okay, how can I fit this now? How can I make this better? Or do I need to move it to another day? Is there something I can do better with this? And you have to start thinking about it for every single thing. When you log your habits and you can actually see the progress, it's so much easier to visualize how far you've actually come, how far that you're going as well. And I would recommend either you log it physically. I know some people, they're into notebooks. They have a notebook and they kind of make the little grid and they go and check off each and every single habit. But me personally, I use a Notion template that automatically generates my habits every single day, and I can go and check it, and I can check it from all the way months ago. I have it all the way from earlier this year. Now, if you want this completely for free, all you have to do is sign up for my newsletter down below, first link in the description. My essential Notion habit tracker, and it'll help you track all your habits. It's what I've been using. I've been using it this entire year. I built it so every single day it has a special formula, so you won't have to go and manually do all these things. It'll go and regenerate your habits for a new day, and you go and just check it or click the box, and then you're good to go. And it goes and you can see all the progress in the past, and you can also see it in different charts, so you can see, oh, what are these different things, what are statistics for all these different things, to kind of gamify, because when you gamify things, when you kind of have that, even that small satisfaction of checking a box, it makes things so much easier. But make sure you are logging your habits. Why would you log all these other things? There are people who log their calories, and they log like how well their YouTube videos have done, or all these different analytics for all these different things. Why are you doing all of that for all these other things, but not for yourself, for the person you're becoming? Isn't that one of the most crucial things? And eventually, after you continue to log your habits over and over and over, it gets to a point to where it's just second nature, because that's what we're trying to do with our habits. You're trying to make it, just like I said before, to make it a part of your identity. And when it becomes fully a part of your identity, it's just second nature. I've been working out for several years now, and I'm at a point where I just know, I just work out, I have to. And if I were to miss it, it feels wrong within me. It's like, oh my gosh, like how did I not work out? It's the same thing with creating something. I need to create every single week. I need to make something, because if I don't, I feel like there's something wrong, because it's become second nature. It's like reading, all these different things. You have to make it a part of your identity, and part of that is logging. You have to log it in those initial phases. You have to log it in those initial stages, because chances are, if you fall off it, and when, not if, but when you go and miss a day of that habit, you're able to hold yourself accountable, because no one is coming to save you. Again, just like I said, you have to take full accountability of all your actions. That is how you're truly going to become a person of character. That is how you're going to be a person that has virtue. That is how you become the person that you're trying to be, the person that's actually going to see purpose over pleasure. That is how you get rid of all the insecurities in your head of, oh my gosh, I'm a person that can't even do this every day. I'm a person who can't hold themselves accountable. I can't even do this. How can I lead someone else if I can't even hold myself accountable? No, all those other voices, you have to tune them out, because when you log your habits, when you take the time to, it's no longer going to be oh my gosh, I'm worried about this. It's, no, wait a second. I can look. I literally have proof. I have proof that I hold myself accountable. That I go and do what I said I was going to do. And that is how you get rid of insecurity. Now, the last and crucial part of really becoming a person that's so consistent at their habits is to realize it takes time. Rome was not built in a day. All your different goals and dreams and visions and plans, they're not all just gonna happen overnight. There's really no thing as an overnight success. Whether you look at musicians, athletes, Steve Jobs, people like him, all these different things, they did not happen in one day. They happened with consistency, time and time again, over and over and over. That is how you'll actually make progress. And the sooner you realize that it's really that slow growth, that's really that consistency that will actually make the difference, the sooner you realize, you know what, I'm not gonna get tired of these habits. I'm gonna stick with it. And that's how you persevere and break through that barrier to where it becomes a part of your identity. If you go into habits, if you go into your goals and your visions and your plans thinking that these habits are just gonna automatically click in 1 week, I can tell you right now, you're just gonna be like every other person. You're gonna be like 90% of people who can't even keep up with working out. You're gonna be like just like everyone else, to where they fall off of all the goals. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be a millionaire in a group chat. You have all your friends that say that, or they like to, they share the Instagram reels where it's like, yeah, when me and bro get the Lamborghinis, when me and bro get the McLarens, when we live the house, when we have our future kids and we're able to build wealth and have our wives and have our children play with each other. Like all these different things, all these different people say that. But it's because they're not actually in it for the long run. When it doesn't happen immediately, when it doesn't happen that first month, when it doesn't happen that second month, they become tired and give up. And you cannot be like that. You have to persevere. You have to be strong. This is the part where it's really self-discipline. I can give you all these different tips. I can tell you to log, to write it down, to make it a part of your identity. But if you yourself don't realize it will take time, then there's nothing else I can do. You're just gonna have to go sit down and have defeat. And if you made it this far, I don't think you're a person that wants to just go and accept defeat. I think you're a person that actually has value, that seeks purpose over pleasure. You're a person that sees that it might take time, but I'll eventually reach there. And you also have to think, what else are you gonna be doing? What are you gonna be doing in that time that passes? You're gonna be scrolling your phone? Like, what better time do you have? Take advantage of it now. Like I always said, if you've been subscribed to the channel for, even just a year, I've said so many different times, time is like a moving current. Time is like a flowing current. It continues to move. And as it's moving, as time is passing by, because no man can stop time. Time is the one thing that you can never truly get back. You can never make more time. You can never delete time. It's just always gonna pass by. This second, it's gone. Just now, it's gone. Time is always moving like a current. And if you're not at least moving, then you're falling behind every single thing in life. If you're stagnant and this is a current moving, everything is going by and you're falling behind because inherently the current is moving forward, but you're not even doing that. But if you can move forward with the current, you're gonna progress in life. And if you're able to go and as you build those habits, it's exponential. Stop thinking you're a robot. We are humans. As humans, we grow exponentially in so many different things. Often it's, I'm not trying to be all math, but I'm not trying to bring up a bunch of math, but in math where it's the exponential curve and at the small start, it's just very, let's imagine this is the floor level and it's very small and eventually it hits this curve. This curve is such an important part. And this is the part where all of us, this is where we hear about that new music artist. This is where we hear about that breakthrough. We're like, oh my gosh, this is an overnight success. Oh, this is probably an industry plan. Oh, this person, they were just super lucky. No, they weren't. You didn't see them all this time that they were working on this habits. They were staying consistent over time. That even though they was like, oh man, it was hard, but I know I need to keep doing it. You didn't see it all this time. And as it goes and it rises, eventually they hit this curve. And it goes and shoots up and you're able to see so much of the results. You're able to see the fruition of your habits, of staying consistent. You're able to see the fruition of your labor. You're just able to reap that harvest. And then it just becomes so much of an upward curve from there. And yes, there are parts where it may be a bit lower, but it just continues to rise. Stop thinking you're a robot where you just grow linearly. We're not linear beings. Human beings do not grow linearly. We are not people that just, we're just like, oh, it stays the same. No, it's not gonna be the same forever. Think about it. Think about it. As you were a kid, you remember, when you eventually got your first growth spurt and you're like, whoa, I got a lot taller. And you started getting a bit taller and you're like, whoa, all this. And you were thinking that, man, I might be short. Or, you might be a person that like, oh, I might be tall forever. No, you have to go in with the mindset that you're in for the long run. You're here to stay. That's how you won't be like all these people. Like, why do you think all these, young influencers and all that are hopping on steroids? Because they have no patience. How are you 24 and you're already like inclined to take steroids? Really? You haven't even fully developed. Your mind only, as a guy, your mind only fully develops when you're 24. So you can imagine all those extra years. It's like why all these people, they think college is the highlight of their life. That's the peak of your life. Oh, when I'm in my young 20s, that's the only time I'm ever gonna enjoy my life. No, you should have the mindset that, I can be able to stay consistent. I don't have to waste my time drinking. I don't have to waste my time smoking. I can get so much better and life can continue to improve. Life can continue to get better because I'm in it for the long run. I'm not just here for the instant pleasure, for the instant gratification. I'm here for that delayed gratification. I'm here for the things that will truly matter, the things that will give me so much more fulfillment. If you've ever cooked before, you realize that, junk food, it might taste good for a little bit, but it doesn't always give you the most energy. It doesn't feel the most filling. But when you go and actually spend time cooking and you get that, you spend time with that recipe and it's hard. Like, trust me, I don't like cooking, but you spend time with it and eventually you get that result, the end result, and you're like, wow, this is worth it. And you taste it and then you have some left over and you're able to get more energy from it. And it's the exact same thing. You have to realize that it's so important. And just like a plant, if you need another analogy, just like a plant, you plant a seed and at first you don't really see anything. If you get a transparent container, you might see a little tiny sprout, but then it seems like that sprout is the same height forever. Why is this plant not growing? Why am I not progressing in life? Why do I feel like everyone is moving past me? But then you look below the surface and there are all these different roots. All these roots are forming, all these things are forming deep, so it can be grounded for when it's eventually time for that sprout to not just continue turning sprout, but turn into, the base of a tree. And eventually over years, you have this giant oak tree, with these branches just spread out wide, but it's deeply rooted within the ground. Because when that wind comes, when push comes to shove, you're already prepared. You're ready for it. You're stable. And that's the exact same mindset you have to keep with it. If you stay grounded, if you stay rooted within these habits, within discipline, then you're going to reap the rewards. It's not going to be instant, but what I can tell you is when everyone else, already ate when everyone else already used up all their energy, wasted all that time, you're going to be the person that's like, wait a second, I'm already still progressing. I'm still the guy that's still continuing to grow. What, you guys peaked back in high school? Man, I'm in my 30s and I'm still getting better. That's the mindset you want to have. It's not short term, it's long term. And if you can't handle that, then I'm sorry, it's not for you. You might as well put in the towel now, because there's no point if you can't have the long-term mindset. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I can imagine you're a person that actually seeks purpose over pleasure. You're a person that sees their goals, their dreams, their passions, their visions is not just something far in the horizon, that they're actually achievable and attainable, that you can actually achieve all these things, not just with hard work, but actually going about it with a smart way, knowing the systems, knowing the wisdom. Well, if you're like that, I would recommend you subscribe, because I have so many other amazing videos that are going to help you during this period where they're calling it the great lock-in. Everyone's saying the great lock-in is going to happen. And what I'm really starting is the great shift. And so many people are saying this is a great lock-in and all that. And I think locking in is important. That I had a lock-in season earlier this year, but locking in is just one small part of it. You don't just want to lock in and fall off immediately. You know how many times, you've been locked in for a bit and then you fall right back into the same mistakes, the same bad habits, all the past things that you said you wouldn't go back to? We're not like that. We're using the great lock-in as momentum to head into a great shift. This is truly going to be a movement of people that are changing their lives, that are truly in belief that this lock-in is just going to be momentum. It's going to give them inertia to truly change your lives, change everything, change the trajectory of everything, and use it as a catapult to take them even further. So if you'd like to, subscribe and join the community, because there's so much more coming. And share, like the video so it can be able to help other like-minded videos, whether your friend, whether the group chat. It truly helps me be able to create more videos just like this. And this is just a small part of actually achieving your goals. So wait until the next video and we'll go even deeper and further. And you can also watch some past videos just like this, because I think you would like it, because if you like my cinematic ability, maybe there's some other videos that you would like. So remember, purpose over pleasure. I love each and every single one of you.